In this video, I want to talk about what you can do in order to figure out the zoning for a specific property that you may actually be looking at to start your own residential assisted living facility or even your own behavioral health facility. So if you're interested, make sure to stick around. What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serg. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you have shown me. And if you have not yet, make sure to go check out the God Made podcast on all streaming platforms. Make sure to also check out Legion Assisted Living Academy and also check out the mentorship link down below to schedule a one-on-one with myself. And also, if you have not yet, make sure to check out valleyalfventures.com if you're an operator or an investor or someone who is looking to sell their facility, no matter how big. And also, if you're looking to passively invest, you can do that as well and check us out at Valley ALF. And also we are on Instagram, so make sure to go check us out there at Valley ALF Ventures on Instagram. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. Zoning is something that is very crucial when it comes to actually starting your very first facility, or if you're acquiring a facility that is vacant and hasn't been in use for a very long time. And sometimes depending on the city zoning that you're in, which this video should help in order to figure out what you can do, or if you're actually looking at something that may potentially have the zoning but aren't quite sure what you can do in order to properly zone it. This video will help a ton. So let's start off first with the property itself and why the zoning is very important. The reason why the zoning is very important because when you rezone a property, especially when it's in a residential setting, you are able to utilize that property for that specific use case. And also maybe a property was previously zoned as something else that you may have to rezone, maybe had a different classification that you may actually have to go back and rezone for a different purpose, which would be maybe behavioral or assisted living. And so you may have to go back and redo the zoning for that. And there's different codes when it comes to rezoning a specific property. So the very first thing that you can do actually is calling the zoning department within your city. Oftentimes you might get relayed to a couple different people, and then eventually you come across somebody who's actually in charge of the specific zoning department in your city that will help you to give you the classification. Once you have that person on the phone, make sure to have your questions lined up. The question is going to be, look, this is what I'm trying to do. Am I able to do it? And if I'm able to do it, what can I do to get this zone and get this process going? In most cases, you're going to have to start filling out the application that they have. So once you start the application, you're then going to have to go through scheduling a time with the fire department to come out and do an inspection on that specific property to make sure it's up to code of what zoning coding is going to need. And so fire inspection, they'll usually have a list that they'll give you prior to make sure that you have everything. So these different things may require a fire sprinkler, a fire panel that is hooked up and monitored by the local fire department. And then on top of that, there may need to be extinguishers that you need to have on site. You may have a couple things that they will need, and they'll make sure that the fire suppression is actually properly working. And so they'll test that as well. And so you'll need these things set up prior to them coming out and passing you on your fire inspection. Once they pass you on the fire inspection and you've already submitted the application with zoning, then from there, zoning will approve your application further. And if they need to come do an on-site inspection, they will as well. And if not, they will go ahead and push you through and get your certificate of occupancy. Now, if you have a property that maybe was previously used for something, what you can actually do is put in a records request with the Department of Zoning. And so this records request will give you all the previous inspections of the property, the different site plans that they have for that property that was previously approved. You can see exactly what that property had previously been zoned for, even from the current use case. And then that way you can have a better idea of what you're going to need to do moving forward. And so if you are able to have that records request approved and given to you, so that way you can have a better idea of what to do moving forward if you're trying to rezone a specific property. And that can take some work and that can take some time. So you want to make sure you get in contact with the right people at zoning to make sure that you can get this records request approved. And then from there, you really just start the process. And if you want to, there's usually people who you can hire to consult you through these things when it comes to coding. Usually it's somebody, if you're having to reconfigure a certain property, meaning you're going to have to do some renovations to it to get it up to code, your architect will be able to give you some consultation and probably have some resources available for when you're drawing out the plan and reconfiguring the property to make sure that it's outfitted for the right reasons, especially when it comes to like assisted living and behavioral health. And a perfect example is we are actually going to be doing this on the hotel that we're under contract for, and that we're working on, is reconfiguring the entire floor plan of the hotel to be able to reconfigure it for a behavioral health facility. And so I'm going to talk more about that in the process of doing that. But in the beginning, what we did was actually do a records request, like I just said, and we were able to see exactly what that was previously approved for and what we are going to have to do in order to get it reapproved and rezoned and be able to get that certificate of occupancy that's going to be required for when we actually put in the application with the Department of Health Services that will be licensing. So it is a process, and it is a very crucial process that you do in the due diligence period once you do have a property under contract. If you have a property under contract, and if you're just looking, you can still even put a records request without having a property under contract. You can still make a phone call to zoning to get, to see if that place is being previously approved and has been previously approved, and what you will need to do next. And so oftentimes there's even distance requirements that you're going to have to meet. And if that property doesn't meet that distance requirement, you can actually go before the board and actually dispute it and be able to get approved for a specific special use case on that property. But you have to go before the board with a proper argument of why that property should be allowed to get rezoned and potentially relicensed. And so that is a whole nother process, and that can take some time too, and could be very costly if you have to do that. The best thing that you want to be able to do is, if you have the room available on a specific property or on a specific location, is to be able to expand to more beds and be able to put that special accommodation argument past the board and have them approve that. And once they do, you can actually have more beds as long as the zoning approves it, because licensing will go ahead and give you that. And they'll have maybe some nuances that they want you to follow. And so with that, you can do a lot. So this is a very important and very time-consuming process, but once you get through it, it's pretty much a matter of just getting your business up and operating. And so it's been amazing to be able to go through these different processes and be able to continue to learn, continue to understand what all these different codes mean. And once you do it the first time, the second time is usually easier because now you understand. The third time you get even better at it. And so it is a lot that you'll have to do in the very beginning, but it's definitely worthwhile. And so hopefully this video did help. And if it did, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, continue to watch all these other videos above me. And I appreciate all the support, and I will talk to you all in the next one.